On the last episode of Qavah, Samee Dowlatshahi shared about growing up in a home where he saw substance abuse and the overthrow of his country's government. He, his mother, and his brothers spent every dollar to leave Iran and come to the United States. They didn't have a plan, and they didn't know the language. Samee did, however, have one thing that makes all the difference: faith.
I really, really encourage you to realize God has a plan. And He'll give you what you want. That's my favorite saying. He'll give you what you want. He'll never give you when you want it and how you want it. But He'll give you what you want.
Yeah. That's good.
So you just got to be patient.
Trusting in God's plan meant something very different for Samee than it means for most of us. Join us to hear how Samee started to chase his dream after he'd reached the light at the end of the tunnel.
Good might believe that everything happens for a reason.
Right.
I believe there's a bigger plan in
Right.
place now that I'm where I'm at.
Welcome back to Qavah. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. I'm Kelly Archibald, and I'd like to welcome you to Qavah the podcast, your source of inspiration, empowerment, and profound insights into the art of Qavah. Now, you might be wondering, what is Qavah? It hails from Hebrew, and it embodies the concept of waiting with eager anticipation and hopeful expectancy. In a world that constantly seems to rush us, Qavah the podcast invites you to pause, to embrace the beauty of anticipation, and to explore the profound wisdom found in waiting. The accounts shared on this podcast, including this episode, reflect the guests' thoughtful recollections and opinions of experiences perceived and occurring over many years, including childhood memories which may be fallible and limited by perspective and trauma. Persons may have different memories regarding certain events. One of Samee's very first communities here in America was a string of Applebee's restaurants in the Dallas Metroplex. Also, it was where he met his wife, who would become his strongest teammate as he chased his dream.
Met my wife at Applebee's, Molly.
Oh.
Yeah, she was a bartender. So it's a lot of the stuff happened throughout the years. You look back at it now. Before you're like, oh, okay, well, this is what happened because it just happened. So good might believe that everything happens for a reason.
Right.
I believe there's a bigger plan in
Right.
place now that I'm where I'm at.
Right.
So back then it was just like, oh wow, okay, this is what happened. When Applebee's closed down, I had to transfer to another one because the one in Plano closed down, so I had to transfer to Richardson. And I remember the GM at the Richardson at the moment wouldn't take anybody from Plano because he was one of those old school managers. I hire my own people. You're not going to tell me who to bring on. And I was a corporate trainer, so they have that rule. If you're a corporate trainer, they have to take you wherever you want to go. That's one of the things that come with it. So I made sure I made a point of it. So I went over there and I met him. I said, well, he's like, no, I don't have any opening. I go, well, you're going to have an opening because I'm coming on. So later on, he ended up being one of the best managers I ever had. We had one of the closest bonds.
Wow.
So he worked out well, but that's where I met Molly.
Okay.
So,
Oh, that's
yeah,
sweet.
yeah. So when I went to check the place out, so we met, and then for 6 months we got engaged, and then we got married.
Oh, wow.
And then Cameron, my firstborn, was born. He was 1 year old at the time, and I realized, the whole apartment thing is getting old. We gotta go
Right.
find a house, find a place to live.
Right.
So I remember Molly's like, oh, you gotta go to Rockwall. So I saw this house. So I'm like, okay. So we come over here, we come across the lake. I remember I was like, oh, that's really homey feel. It's a great community. And never worked here before, but it was Applebee's here, so I could transfer.
Yes.
The GM, I knew the GM real well because I trained him like years ago when he started it.
Wow.
So we used to work together at a different location because I worked in different Applebee's. I helped out in Louisville, different places. So I came in and I told him, hey, I want to work. And he's like, yeah, okay. So I worked both places, Richardson and here. I worked 2 jobs. And then at that point, Cameron had gastro things, so Molly couldn't work, so I had to work 2 jobs to make sure. So I worked 2 places, day and night,
Wow.
7 days a week for like a couple of years, about 18 months. So
Wow.
that way she could be with Cameron because
Right.
we couldn't put Cameron in the daycare yet.
Right.
So then I became a bartender here, and bartended and, packed that bar.
With a sick son and a wife taking care of him at home, Samee was slaving away every hour just to pay the bills. He loved his family and he loved his job, but he couldn't help but dream of more. While he waited on God's timing, he learned a few secrets that would help him get to that dream one day.
I remember, throughout the years, me and my customers, we always talk about, it'd be cool to open your own place up. I was like, that was always a dream.
Right.
Obviously we didn't have the means. So, left that place, went to Qavah. I was there for about 8 months or so, until they sold the place. And then went to a place called Qavah on the harbor.
Yes.
Worked there, bartender, managed that place for about 4 years. And then I worked for, I remember, the owner there at that point is drunk all the time. So, I remember every moment of life you learn what not to do.
Right.
From my dad, I learned what kind of father I don't want to be.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So, but at the same time, I learned how to be hospitable.
Right.
You know what I mean? So a lot of
Right.
people, they take bad experiences and you can blame it on that and find yourself in a, friends and you go, oh, okay, I became a drug addict because my dad was a drug addict. I became alcoholic because my dad was alcoholic. I am who I am because my past, I was poor and I was brought up poor. And, you can make excuses for anything. So I learned, to use those negative things in my life to how I don't want to be, but also find the positive in it. My dad has he's been still alive, so I don't say had, but has enormous amount of love for his friends. So I got that from him,
Right.
which is amazing because throughout the years, my friends is what supported me to get here.
Wow.
So, he had enormous amount of love for being loyal, and he was a very loyal person, a very loyal friend. So to dad, he kind of sacrificed his family, but at the same time, you can just take that one part
Right.
and just realize, okay, that was a good, so I can,
Right.
and then take the bad and realize how you don't want to be.
Right.
So when I came here, like throughout the bosses I had, the first guy, Bob, God bless his soul, he passed away, but he ended up being one of my best managers ever. When he passed away, I probably hit me the hardest out of all the bosses I've ever had. So the thing was, I learned that I like that old school of managing.
Okay.
It's hardcore. You don't make a lot of friends,
Okay.
and you always get a bad reputation of being a probably bad boss to work for. But through it, you make some hardcore people that they stay with you for years, and they
Right.
know how you are, they know how you like it. Because you pretty much eliminate slackers.
Right.
So that's how it works. And so throughout the years when, we were at the Qavah, I realized what kind of boss I don't want to be. I don't want to be that boss. To this day, I don't drink in my own bar. Even though, I do drink when I'm off, but I don't drink in my own bar.
Right.
And that's because I don't want to be that drunk boss in the corner of the bar being drunk. Nobody wants to see that.
Samee knew how he wanted to run things, with excellence. Unfortunately, however, the owner of the bar where Samee worked didn't see eye to eye with him.
So anyway, what happened, me and him didn't get along. And I got fired at the age of 54 now, 8 years, 45.
Oh, golly.
Yeah, there's a good story there. So
You got
45, yeah.
Samee's faith was tested. After all his years of hard work, being fired was crushing. And on top of this, his family was about to be blindsided by a deep loss.
My wife was pregnant about 6 months before that.
Oh,
We
my
lost the baby, unfortunately.
goodness.
Took a really hard toll on her. So she was going through all that. So you try to be this strong person or whatever, but at the same time,
Right.
took a lot of toll on me because we got to the point like 3 months, 4 months into the pregnancy. I don't even know if she wants me to share this, but anyway, 3 months, 4 months into the pregnancy, we realized they told us that, hey, baby might not make it. You need to make the call. But we're not going to make the call on that. It's not going to happen. It's because we believe in miracles. We believe in Jesus. We believe in our beliefs, and we're not going to make the call. So we just got to hope they're wrong. And so she lost the baby late in the pregnancy. So that happened in about January.
And you have but you have one that's sickly. Is your
It
Cameron
was.
still
No,
sick?
no, no, no,
okay,
no. That was
Cameron's
just
okay.
the first year.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
he's
So
good.
Cameron's good.
Yeah, he's good. That was
Okay.
just the very first year.
Okay.
He had a gas station. We just couldn't leave him at a daycare because
Okay.
he had to be watched.
Okay.
No, he's good after the first. No, he's good. And then, so, you know, at that point, you know, we're about May or so. So we just had this happen. So we're going through, you know, that. And it came
You're
out.
grieving.
Well, yeah, she was. She
Yeah.
was. She took it very hard, and it was very hard on her. So May of, I go in one day. I worked Friday night. I closed, and then Monday, one of the partners, you know, give me a call and goes, "Hey, we need to talk." And got fired. I got let go. So, you know, came home. That was probably one of my lowest part of my life because you're over here. You've done this for close to 20 semi-years, 30 years.
Right.
You've turned bars around, at least about 4 or 5 of them, from nothing to, you know, like Qavah was the 3rd highest liquor sales in Rockwall County. And when I got it there, they had to borrow money to buy the first liquor order. That's how
Wow.
bad they were doing. So you keep turning them around, and then you just finally, it's like, okay, when do I get my break? I remember every birthday I would have, you know, I make goals, like 10 goals. You know, people usually do New Year resolution. I do it on my birthday. It's like, okay, this year, this is what I want to accomplish. And that would be my goals. I feel like goals is, I've always been that way. It's like when you set goals, you hit the goals. That's whatever that is. It doesn't have to be losing weight. It could be anything.
Right.
So I remember number 1 in my goal, you know, get your own place. You got to get your own place. You got to find a way to get your own place. So when I left Applebee's, I had a chance of, you know, when I talked to a lot of investors, tried to, you know, get somebody, but restaurant business is probably the worst person to try to get people to invest in it. So because of the ratio of failure.
Right.
So every 5 restaurant takes its shuts down every day. So it's not a good investment.
Right.
Not a lot of people that want to do it. So that didn't work out. So I came out. I remember I was like in the worst place of my life. I was pretty deep down. I didn't know what to do.
Samee had a lot of thinking to do. At a time like this, when his world was falling apart, a lot of people would have thrown in the towel. But not Samee. Instead, he chose to press in with bigger faith than he'd ever had before. It was time to bring his dream to life.
I had there was a area director at Applebee's that once again another manager I worked with that he started from bottom, whatever. Now he was like the head honcho.
Wow.
And he gave me a call. He goes, "Hey, we can get you your own store.
Oh, wow.
You know, become a GM or whatever." But I didn't want to work for anybody else anymore. I told Molly, I was like, "This is the time I need to get my own place. I don't want to go through that rabbit hole again." And as much as I appreciate his offer, I always had that. So I was like, I need time to go see if I can make this happen again. So called a few friends of mine that I worked with and said, "Hey, I'm thinking about getting my own place or whatever. If I do, would y'all come?" And all these people that worked with me in the past are like, "Oh yeah, I'm game." So I had 6 or 7 people that are like, "Oh yeah, I'll drop, you know, whatever I'm doing right now. We go get you, make your dream happen. So as soon as you have the place, let me know." So I'm like, okay. So I start going around and, you know, I remember friends of mine called me because they always call me, "Hey, let's go out," whatever. I was like, you know, I go work and go home. So I was like, okay, well, you don't have a job now, let's go out. And I was like, okay, so we go out with my friends, you know, just hang out, try to get my mind off of it because those are pretty bad place mentally. And so I remember, you know, Molly's like, "So what do you want? What would make you happy?" And I said, "I got to get my own place, but we're living paycheck to paycheck, and with everything we've been through,
Right.
I don't have time to have that, to go find investors,
Right.
try to find a place, try to get my own place." So I remember we had like $6,000 in a saving for the kids throughout the years. So she went and closed those accounts, brought the money, and she goes, "Here you go. Bills are paid for a month and a half. Go find a place."
Samee's wife and his friends had caught his vision. Now that he had their support, he was on fire.
So then I start going around. Man, I had millionaires friends. They go over there, give him the spiel, what I want to do. This place was up for sale.
Oh, wow.
The place was, they're not doing any business, wasn't doing good. The guy had it up for sale for like over a year. Nobody wanted to buy it because, you know, they didn't have enough business. It was just a bad investment to a lot of people. To me, I was hungry. I've been waiting for this for 35 years. I want my own place. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care what it's not. I'm ready
Right.
to roll. So, and it was a matter of getting investors. So I remember I had to pitch to everybody. I had the board, all of it. So everybody's like, no, because that place is done. Find a new place I'm in, or Samee, you bartended. There's a whole difference from running a restaurant. You might have worked in the kitchen, but it's different when you work a restaurant and you run a restaurant. You can't do it. There's no way. This place, there's no way you're gonna make it in there. You gotta pick a different place. I was like, no, I really feel like I can do this. And so I had a customer that was a friend of mine, Kyle. His wife was one of the bartenders that I called. She's like, oh yeah, I'm there. I'll help you out, Megan. So this place wasn't happening. I couldn't get investors. So I remember calling Megan and going, she had me on it with speaker. She would say, hey, this place is not going to happen. Oh, I kind of something I forgot to tell you. So when I couldn't find these investors, I remember Molly coming up to me saying, hey, something going to happen by the 7th.
Okay.
By the June 7th. Something going to happen. Because just be patient. Something going to happen. Like, she's talking about it. So call up Megan and tell her, hey, it's not going to happen. We don't have the investors, so I'm just going to go take that job at Applebee's and be the GM or whatever they need to do, be a manager over there. And I remember her husband in the background, which they met in the bar. We used to work together.
Right.
He was my customer.
Oh, wow.
And that's how they met. They got married.
Oh my God.
So Kyle turned around and goes, what do you need? What are you trying to get? And I told him. He goes, well, we're going to be in town tomorrow. Is there any way we can go see this place? And I go, yeah, okay. He was a bar veteran. He worked for L3. And he just, and he goes, well, he came in. We sat down. I didn't do this spiel for him. I remember just writing everything down on a piece of napkin. This is what we do. This is what we do. Because I didn't think it was serious. And I was like,
Yeah.
this is what we do. You just want to be nice, And he goes, okay. He goes, let's go see the place. So we come see the place. There's like not a soul in here. It's like we were at whole lunch. They had like maybe one table. And I'm like, it's not helping my cause over here.
Right,
he doesn't
right.
see what I see. And he called me back and he goes, hey, I have a saving that I saved over a thing. That's my nest egg. That's if something happened to me when I go overseas. So Megan and the kids can be okay and all that kind of stuff. But I'm in.
Wow.
I trust you. I believe in you. I think you can do this. I don't know nothing about restaurant business. So it's all you. Just don't mess it up. I'm like, okay, let's roll. So we did all that. I believe June 7th, 5 p.m. We signed the papers.
Oh my goodness.
And I remember
Wow.
got in the car and all I asked her to go, how did you know? How did you know the date? Well, that was the due date of the baby. Crazy.
Yeah.
So that's why I believe
Yeah.
everything happens in life for a reason.
Yeah.
It's timing. And somebody else is in charge.
The years of waiting had seemed like lifetimes, but now Samee had a place of his own. God had made it clear that the timing was his and his alone. And little did Samee know that this humble little storefront was soon to become one of Rockwell's very favorite restaurants. They called it Samee's Pizzagetti.
I remember first when I got here, I packed the place up. I remember it's like the place went from nothing to just hopping because I had all these. I knew the bar business would be good, but nobody knew I could work the restaurant business. So all my years of when I was 16, 17, 18, 19,
Right.
culinary, working in the restaurant, cooking and all that kind of stuff, that passion came back and
Right.
started creating the menu and all that kind of stuff. And I remember at the beginning, it was all about, okay, I worked my butt off 30 years. I'm here. I deserve it. I worked really hard to get here. And I had a friend that had gotten a car wreck in July 4th. And I remember I can't explain the car wreck, but I felt the need to do something. And I can't remember, I've never done a fundraising, never done raise money, never done anything remotely close. And I can't explain the feeling. But I remember I was like telling Molly, I was like, we gotta do something. So So we started doing a fundraiser. We started fundraising for him because he was in pretty bad shape in the hospital and all that. We tried to raise money. So people were coming along, just donating stuff. We just did a portion of sales, we did shirts, we did sales. Like, I remember that night when we were counting all the money and everything to give it to his wife the next day. That's when it hit me what this place is all about. Just a vessel. Because I remember how I felt that day. I never felt so good about doing something that I really was meant to do. That's what I want to do. That's what made me felt better than getting this place. So I remember that night I realized, okay, so this is what this place success is all about. This is why I'm here.
Right.
So to use it to, help the community, help the people in need, where I feel the need to help. I don't help everybody, obviously I'm just a small place, but there are times, so throughout the years, we start pumping that up. We start doing, through the hurricanes, through the, tornadoes, and,
Samee and Molly were having so much fun seeing what God was doing that they just couldn't stop giving back.
So, we started Molly was doing a Christmas project back in the day when she was a teacher, because she taught in a place of not very highly, it was in Garland, so it was, I don't know what they call those kind of schools, but
Like
anyway, they
lower
come from
socio-
lower, social, so she would sell donuts in the morning, pencils during the time off or whatever to raise money to
Okay.
get these kids for Christmas, because they couldn't get a Christmas present.
Okay.
So Molly's like, well, if this is the best, that's what we're going to do. Let's start doing the Christmas Angel Project.
Okay.
So we started the Christmas Angel Project. We want the community to go through hard times, and they can't have Christmas. But ours wasn't about, okay, let's get them. I didn't want socks or anything. I want to just blow them away Christmas. I want to get them things like, if things weren't bad,
Right.
what would you get?
Wow.
So next thing you know, the community came together, and every Christmas it's crazy. It's like there's some videos out there. It's like the entire room is full of presents. And
Wow.
yeah, so that's one of our biggest projects we do. And then, just, a lot of the stuff, those are probably the, you talk about memories, like what's the first thing you remember, what's the good memories that I remember about this place. It's not about Pizza Giddies or Samee's Pizza Giddies success as far as sales and how good we're doing
Right.
or that kind of stuff. It's about what have you done in the community. That's what I'm most proud of.
Samee's dream just kept on multiplying. As the years went by, he and Molly got to build a life for their kids that Samee had never had. It didn't matter that they'd spent all their life savings on the restaurant. They trusted God, and he was faithful to provide every time.
Cameron was born, and then Connor was born, and Chloe was the latest one, but, they never came in the most greatest time financially for me. So, once they came, then my job was to provide, to make sure that they have the opportunities that I didn't have. To me, always going back to it, I'm like, I know I could have done something in soccer. But then again, if it wasn't for what I went through or how I got here, there wouldn't be no Cameron, Molly, and Connor and Chloe. So
Right.
I can't knock that. So that's
Right.
a blessing on its own. So that's why a lot of people, when they go through hard times, I tell them, I was like, go through it as much as you kick and scream. 6 months later, 8 months later, you're going to look back. Years later, you're going to look back and realize if it wasn't for that bad thing that happened to you, you wouldn't be where you're at today.
Right.
And so what got me through was, once I got this place, I've been working 120 hours a week ever since. So I go in late. I go because it was time to put up, time to show that, hey, yes, this place was horrible when I took it over, but now look at it. I did this. It's like, if you got the determination and the passion for whatever it is that you do. And that's what I tell my kids. My oldest son played basketball, through high school or whatever, went to college, played 1 year. It's like, he was the same thing. He was the shortest kid in the thing. Nobody gave him a shot. I remember 7th grade, he came out and he told me, he said, hey, I don't want to play basketball anymore. I go, what do you mean? He goes, they don't pick whatever. It's like, you don't have the 6 foot tall that other kids have. So you have to make up for it in the work. Your work ethic's gotta have to change. So you're gonna have to work twice as hard. That's where my life came, you know.
Right.
I came from nothing. So I had to work twice as hard.
So your kids lived a very different life than you did.
I made sure of it.
Yeah. Do they have any idea how good they have it?
That's what we're doing. No, they don't. I don't talk about past numbers.
Right.
That's why I was kind of had anxiety when you sent me this, thing, and you go, okay, because this is probably one of the first interviews that I've done that has nothing to do with the restaurant.
Mm.
And before that, it was just me and my friends, and when you Samee was anyway, so it's good.
Right.
But never talked about my past. So I remember when
Right.
you asked me which one of your first memories,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I have good ones and I got bad ones.
Right.
Which one you're picking? So
Right.
I don't want to talk about the bad ones, but at the
Right.
same time, it's good to know.
Right.
I listened to a lot of your series, and the other one I told you last time, I kind of listened
Right.
to a couple of them. It's like, to me, this is about two things. Number one, there's something there where tell my story, because nobody ever asked, nobody ever know. And then second would be, there's somebody out there that is probably going through the same thing. Is probably going through hard times, got here, never picked to succeed. And maybe they listen to this and they
Right.
realize, hey, there's a God out there that actually think different.
Now, of course, Samee's story is far from over. In fact, he was recently forced to cling tight to that same faith that got him to his dream. The COVID-19 pandemic was not exactly kind to the restaurant business, and Samee's Pizzagetti was no exception.
So your shirt says faith over fear.
Yes.
And what does that mean?
Well, I didn't know what it meant until about 8 months ago.
Okay.
I thought I did.
Okay.
I've always been, like I said, through the community project work, it's just if I felt the calling, I did it. And I like to think I got a really, really close relationship with my creator. I feel like when he needs me, I feel the calling. And usually I haven't been wrong. So usually I'll move on it. Have I got burned before? Yeah, of course.
Right.
That's human. It happens. But I usually give for the sake of giving, not who do I give it to and what they do with it. I'm not
Right,
good with that.
right.
So my thought process on that is totally different. But when the pandemic happened, I remember it was horrible. It was to go is 10% of my business. 90% of my business just shut down.
Yes.
I have 52 employees.
Oh.
Yeah, close to $30,000 every 2 weeks in payroll. And I have to do this through 10% of my business, which is impossible. So I remember, thinking, what are you gonna do? Because at one point you're gonna have to figure out, okay, we gotta shut it down. We gotta shut it down and just come back in a couple of months. But nobody knew when it goes away, what's going on.
Right.
The uncertainty was horrible, yeah. But main part was I had employees in here that they didn't qualify for everybody was getting. For me, it would have been easy. It would have just called me a couple of months of rent. I probably could have worked that out in some kind of form and fashion, and just go home and then come back. And but I remember telling Molly, I'm like, we have 20 semi-employees that their families depend on us, and never mind the fact that everything I worked for 35 years ago, I'm about to lose everything. Everything hard to get here, what it took to get here.
Right.
So, I remember saying, okay, you just got to give it to God. You just got to do everything you can in your power. That's all I've done all my life. I can only work as hard as I can. I can only work so many hours I can. But if I give it all, then there is no regret. And that's what I tell my kids all the time. It's like, whatever you do in life, I don't care if it's tennis, basketball, whatever degree you're going to go, whatever you're going to do, just give it all when there's no regrets.
Right.
Because regret is probably one of the worst emotions you could ever deal with. I don't care what it is, more than grief, more than anything. Regrets is the worst. When you look back and you go, I wish, I wonder, what if? And so I told Molly at that point, I was like, you know what? I just got to make this happen. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know how am I going to pay the payroll. I don't know how I'm going to pay my vendors. I don't know how you're going to put 10% of business. Doing 10% of your business, I told somebody the other day, it's kind of like putting a 5-gallon water through a straw. Try to do all your business through your to-go only. So I realized, okay, I gotta get innovative, start doing videos, start doing whatever. I'm gonna do everything I can in my power. So when they do shut down, I'm gonna say, hey, I give it all. I fought for my people, for my employees, and they fought along with me. It's not about me. I just want to make this clear, because it took 35 of them. They worked. They knew what it took. They worked 7 days a week. They worked day and night, because half of your staff just leaves because they worry about their families, they worry about health, and I mean, let's be honest, they're getting paid sitting at home, and they're making more sitting at home than they would have been working. So that comes to it, and so all of a sudden, not that you're you're about to shut down, you have no bar business, which that's 40% of your business, and then all of a sudden, all you have is to go and half of the staff. And I remember I didn't have any delivery drivers, so I had to tell my son's, Cameron's friends, that they're all college kids, that they all got back. I'll call their parents, and I'm like, hey, because we've been friends for years. I was like, hey, are you afraid of COVID? I mean, can your sons help me out? I go, oh yeah, get them out of my house. And I remember looking back, I have a picture in my office. It's like, it's all these kids that, I used to be their coach back in our 7th grade in basketball. Now they're helping me out to save my livelihood and to save, I'm grateful to those kids.
Wow.
And, so they start working here, and it was all like family. We all come in today, and I wasn't the best person to be around because I was so stressed out. But at the same time, I remember at one point I realized, okay, so what has got us here? Doing community work, doing project, giving back, doing God's work. And that to me was important, because that's what made my heart warm. That's all I like to say. It's like, the minute you do that, then you forget about everything. So Molly's like, well, we need to do something. We need to start getting back into how do we pay for this? How do we do this? Like, I don't know. We just gotta do it. I don't know how. We just gotta, and that's when I realized what faith over fear was. Because at that point, the fear has taken over, and you can't think straight.
Right.
And if you just give it to God and realize, and I know it sounds cliche, I really do, but it works.
Once Samee put faith over fear, he began to see even this as an opportunity.
One story is, Molly's like, okay, we got to start heading, because the elderlies, they were cooped up. They couldn't see their family members. They couldn't see whatever, all the senior citizen places. We're like, we got to start serving food there, make them feel loved, make them think. It's like, well, she was talking about, at that point, the Meals on Wheels was stopped because of the pandemic. So he's like, what about the Meals on Wheels? It's like, you're talking about hundreds of pizzas and things like that. Well, how are we going to afford it? And I'm like, she's like, well, that's, we're at our best when we give. And that's when we do our best.
Yeah.
Even in our business, when we're doing our most community work, when we're doing our most give, that's when we do most sales. And I don't do anything different. It's just, that's how it works.
Right.
So I remember the guy called me 8 o'clock at night. We had that conversation at 5. This guy called me in the middle of dinner. Is this Samee? He goes, yeah. He goes, well, I want to buy like 100 pizzas. And I'm like, bro, stop messing with me. He's like, I don't have time for jokes. He goes, no. How long do you have time to talk? My name is Sean. I'm like, okay, I'll call you afterwards. So I call him back and I go, hey man, he goes, here's my credit card number, whatever. He goes, I want to help out your cause. I like the faith over fear. I like the projects you're doing. And I want to help. This is 5 o'clock, we had that conversation up in the elderly. 8 o'clock, I get that call. So you can't make this up. It can't be a coincidence. I never met the guy. Don't know the guy. He never seen my videos. Never met me before. So 8 o'clock I call him and I said, okay, well, I have an idea. What do you think about this? He goes, I'm in. So the next day, he paid, I paid for half, whatever. And together, me and him were able to serve elderly citizens all week. I'm talking about over thousands of pizzas.
It's like the loaves and fishes.
It's just crazy.
Wow.
And
that's awesome.
yeah, so we had a neighbor of mine. He does all my t-shirts and everything. He owns a company. And he came up to me and said, hey, I'm in Halt. He does sports uniforms.
Right.
You had no business.
Oh.
There's no sports was being played. So he goes, I'm in halt. I'm in need of help. So if you need anything at all, you let me know because I'm like, okay. So I told Molly, I was like, I want to start making these uniforms. I can't imagine living without it. So why don't we just get this? She's, how am I going to pay for it? I thought, we'll figure it out. So we start bringing the shirts in. We start selling the shirts, yard signs. We got a friend of ours that did a yard sign business, and she needed some help as well. So we didn't make any money out of it. Whatever we sold, we gave it to them.
Right.
So then he came back and he goes, hey, you got to keep a couple of dollars out of these shirts. So use it through the project, use it for that.
Oh, yeah.
So we start helping out the COVID families. We start doing things, frontliners, sending out pizzas to nurses. And I'm telling you, during those 2-3 weeks, we start giving back and we start doing God's work. I couldn't tell you how I'll pay my payroll. I can't tell you. We just, we start doing good. We start, increasing that 10% of the business to 70%. So we weren't making any money, but we kept the light on.
Wow. Wow.
And I remember it started in March, so April, May, June. Yeah, by June, I remember sitting there here. I was all by myself. I remember thinking, that's what faith over fear is. That's what giving it all. I've never have done that. I never have actually gave it all, not knowing what tomorrow brings.
Right.
And still doing God. I mean, I remember we served Lake Point drive-through. They had a drive-through. So I called the pastor, good friend of mine, Brad. I called him and I said, hey, I want to serve food there. He said, you sure? It's a lot of people. I said, hey, I know. So what do you got? He goes, I have about 70 to 100 cars come through. Because I got families. And I said, that's fine, I'm in. Well, we didn't tell anybody because we didn't,
Right.
Somebody ended up sending an email from the school because these were the families that they get food through school. So they do a drive-through.
Right.
And Lake Point
Yes.
provides meal boxes.
Right.
Boxes of help. It's great church. And so somebody told them. So that day they had the record cars coming through because pizza were given away for dinner that night.
Oh, wow.
So I remember we're like cooked over, and I can't even remember, 200, 300, I can't remember how many. So the pizzas were kept coming and we kept giving it to the families, but it was the greatest feeling.
Wow.
Chloe, my 6-year-old, was able to help,
Oh.
and those are the things like, we did, when the riots happened, looting happened in Dallas, I remember there was a lot of frontliners, officers, that they were here, they were over there trying to stop the looting and all whatever. And it was a Friday night, and I think we cooked over 100-some pizzas and sent them down there. So the things that, to me, that's what faith over fear is.
Yeah.
Because I have no idea. People tell me, how were you able to do that? I have no idea.
Right.
I just watched his work.
Yes.
I just watched his work.
Hebrews 11:1 defines faith as confidence in what we hope for and assurance of what we do not see. Living by faith is the opposite of living by sight, and Samee's faith completely transformed his community. In 2020, Samee Dowlatshahi was named the winner of the Rockwall Chamber of Commerce Excellence in Community Involvement Award.
That's a sweet spot to be in.
Yeah.
And it continues.
Yeah, and that's a lot of people that are like, hey, and people always say, thank you. It's like, it's all in his name.
Wow.
But I have the pleasure of getting to watch it.
That's
and to watch his work, yeah.
That's awesome.
So probably a lot of my success has a lot to do with not me personally or how I run a restaurant or how hard I work. That's why it's not hard to, you ask me what time I get here, what time I go home. It's my purpose is obviously my kids, my family.
Right.
So I want to make sure, because of my choices earlier in life, or situations I was in life.
Wow.
I don't have any 401k plan, so this is
it.
their future is
Right.
This is it.
Yeah.
So once I got here, I realized, okay, it took me 35 years to get here.
Yeah.
Against all odds, I was
Wow.
told I'd never make it. Even when I got here, people was like, "You're not gonna make that place go." So to me, it's all about proving people, proving that yes, you'll be just fine.
Yeah.
If you work for it hard enough, it's time to step up. So for my kids, for my family, for 52 employees,
Yes.
so that's what gives me up.
Yes. And so now, are you at 50% capacity?
we're at 75% capacity.
75.
Still, things aren't the same. The society is absolutely divided, you know,
Right.
big time. But to me, with us, it's never about politics.
Right.
Because all my customers, they're all friends.
Right.
That's why I don't
Yes.
worry about when a competition opens up. People
Right.
always tell me, mellow mushroom, and I'm like, what are you gonna do? It's like nothing. Like,
Right.
Because to us, it's about the support we get. It's about friendship.
Right.
Our whole life is about friendship,
Yeah.
loyalty.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't worry about, especially after the last 8 months. I don't worry about future. I worry about what God's will is. God's will is.
Wow.
However, I do know I have to stay grounded to, His calling. To me, that's the key, because between me, Molly, and I, that's what warms our heart. You know,
Yeah.
when I see somebody posted, or they're in the hospital, I'll send them food, and to me, that makes my day.
Yeah.
When I call out of nowhere on somebody's birthday, and I go, hey, how old is your boy? How old is your kid? Okay, I'm sending dinner tonight. You know what I mean? So how it makes them feel,
Yeah.
it's, to me, that's all in this thing.
Wow.
That's the least I can do
Wow.
for what he's done for me.
Wow. Well, I will say your restaurant has been such a wonderful spot for our family for so many meals and conversations. And there was a period of time where our electricity would go out all the time. And so we ate dinner here like one whole summer, because for some reason at dinner we never had electricity. So it has been a wonderful spot for our family. Great food, we love it. We're so grateful for all that you've done for our community. You've done so much.
I just told you, it wasn't me.
Oh, well,
It's all in his name.
as a vessel, you've
Yes.
done a great
I got to watch his work.
Yes, yes. So
He provides and I spend.
that should be your T-shirt.
I do. I
He
know.
provides, I spend it. There you go. That's
Yes.
perfect. But thank you so much. Do you have
Thank you.
anything else that you would like to share?
No, just, I think for whoever listens to this, if you ever come from a broken house, if you come from hardship, feel like, you're at the dead end, that's where I was. If you feel like, okay, every year I write the same goal, I'm never going to get there. When is it going to be my turn? And you feel like the life is not fair. Doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be work. It could be relationship. It could be, you've gone through different relationships and you feel like you can't find the right person and all that kind of stuff. I really, really encourage you to realize God has a plan. And He give you what you want. It's my favorite saying. He'll give you what you want. He never give you when you want it and how you want it. But He give you what you want.
Yeah. That's good.
So you just got to be patient.
Yes. Oh, and that's so hard because we like things fast.
Yeah, we want it in our turn.
Right.
His job is to tell us it's not in your turn. It's in His
Right.
turn.
Right.
I learned that the hard. I mean, not the hard way, but I learned that. I remember, years, 35 years. It's a long time to wait.
It's a long time to wait.
But you know what? Looking back at it now, all those times where I had the opportunity, I wasn't ready.
Right.
I don't think I would have been successful because I didn't get it. You know what I mean? I didn't get it. How I got here, the day we got here, how it happened, you can't make that up.
No, the timing.
Coincidence. There's only so much you can live on coincidence.
Right.
At one point, you got to realize He's in charge.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your
No,
time.
thank you
Your
for
story.
taking the time.
I love
I
it.
feel honored.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Qavah the podcast. Be sure to download episodes and subscribe to Qavah wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode filled with inspiring stories and unwavering determination. If you'd like to become a sponsor, have a story of hope that you'd like to share, or know someone whose journey deserves to be heard, we invite you to reach out to us at qavahpodcast.com. That's QAVAH podcast.com. Until next time, may your journey be filled with renewed hope, and may you continue to find strength in the stories we share.